Hey guys, thanks for coming to my video. Just want to let you know a little bit about my channel. I'm really trying to build a place for us to have fun and have a little humor, learn things, share experience, build a community between us, and learn together. So if that's something you're interested in, please subscribe. It would mean a lot. All right, let's hear what North American women have to say about foreign women. This should be interesting.
What do you think of women in other cultures and how they treat their men?
Ooh, I think foreign women treat their men great. They have traditional values, they cook for them, they clean for them, and they know their roles.
I feel like in other cultures, a lot of
foreign
women are more submissive.
Which foreign women? There's a lot of foreign women. It's like foreign women just doesn't mean like it could be like from the UK or France or something. I don't know how they are.
Find other cultures. Are we talking like where woman is like the housekeeper and men do the work, but the women serve the men?
Yes, exactly. Where women are slaves. How do you feel about them? I already know the answer.
Because those women, they're doing a job, but I don't want to do that job.
We
It's a
already
little
knew
bit more
that.
stricter on women, so like they can't really like do what they want to as far as going outside and like having fun and stuff in other cultures as much as they can in America.
What does that even mean? What, you want to go outside and sleep with a bunch of men? Or you want to go party at the bar? Is that what you're complaining about? Because I feel like in a traditional relationship, it's just about checking in with your partner. So you'd be like, hey, husband, do you mind if I go with my girlfriends and we, go watch a movie and then we go for, I don't know, dinner or something? You'd be like, fine, that's fine. And the same thing, the guy probably going to check with his wife, the same thing. Be like, hey, I'm going to go out with my guy friends. We're going to go golfing and whatever. That's fine. It's just about checking in. It's not like they're sitting there like, no, you can't do anything. You must stay home and massage my feet and cook me dinner, make me a sandwich, and give me sex, and you can never leave the house. It's not what it's about. Jesus. Okay, maybe I over-exaggerated what she was trying to say there.
Do you think those women are ignorant slaves or are they happy?
I
Ignorant
think
slaves.
they're doing what they need to do to get by.
Oh, so they're just unwilling. They just have to do it. Like they don't really have a choice. So, you made it even worse. Nice. Good job, lady.
I think they're doing what they think they're supposed to.
Oh no, they're not ignorant slaves. I believe most of them are happy and stuff. My grandma's a traditional woman and she's very happy, so.
What I want to ask that woman, like, what does she think she's supposed to do? I think it's just what you're taught. If you're taught to be traditional, and it's like, hey, you look after man and he looks after you, and you work together, and you go forward on a pathway together, and you support each other, that's traditional. At least my understanding of traditional, and that's a beautiful thing. It's not about subservience or anything like that. So I don't know why they gotta always frame it badly.
They treat their men very well. They actually worship their men. I see a lot of standing behind their men, waiting for their men. Even just the other day, I saw this lady get out of her Uber, leaving her husband in a car and just walked away. I wouldn't see that in a Eastern country or a more egalitarian country.
What does that even mean? I feel like that needs more context. What do you mean she got out of Uber and walked away? Like what? What's the point of that story? What's the context there?
I think it's because they want to. The only reason why I'm gonna say that is because of the way they're brought up. They're told differently to actually do certain things for their men that just comes second nature.
Because they want to, like nobody over there like force girls. They're free. Like the girls choose to do it.
Nobody's forcing no one.
Countries that aren't necessarily third world don't have as many doesn't have as much infrastructure or as many opportunities or as many options. So it kind of forces the woman and the people there to kind of follow structures that are a little bit more traditional and a little bit more natural to them.
Yeah, but based on what I know about like the Passport Brothers, and then they talked about like the Philippines and learning about the Philippines, like women that are single in the Philippines, they are educated. Like there was one woman that I was looking at recently or whatever, and she makes good money and she supports her family. Like her parents gives them 10% of whatever she makes. I don't know if that's everybody, but like just in general that they work, like how else do they have money? So they work at jobs and they support themselves. So they could do that the rest of their lives, but they choose not to because they want to be in a relationship with a man and have a family. It's just different priorities. It's not that they're not capable of working and being independent. It's just that they value companionship and a family and working together with a man.
Do you think those women are ignorant slaves or are they happy?
They're happy.
Slaves.
Happiness is when you can have a family and you can grow something from scratch, from nothing.
Why do you think so many men are traveling overseas to find wives in other countries?
Men are traveling overseas to find wives. Why? I'm right here. I'm single.
No,
Why? I want to be married.
Right, but I'm
Oh my God, she's character.
saying, do you typically see women traveling overseas to
If men
find
are
husbands?
traveling overseas to countries that have less money and less education, it's because they want a woman who is dependent on them for their livelihood, for their resources, to have a good life. And I don't think that that is a good thing.
Okay. Yes and no. I mean, she's partially correct in a way, right? Men are traveling overseas because they want to find a woman who's more traditional. And some of these other countries that are actually doing well and they have more opportunities now still have traditional women. And so men are looking for traditional women because in North America, we have a lot of women who are capable, like fully capable of earning more than a man and fulfilling a man's role in the relationship, at least in a lot of ways, maybe not in all ways, but in a lot of ways. And so it makes men feel like they don't know their place in a relationship. Like, what are they there for? Women continuously say they don't need a man, they can do it themselves. That's something that black women say often, but other women say it as well. To a man, let's say it's me, I enter into a relationship now. This woman is making as much money as me, or maybe more than I am, and she fulfilling the role that I would normally fulfill, right? Being a provider and a giver, right? Like taking care of the family, etc. So now I end up in this place where I'm not really sure where my role's supposed to be. What do I take on? Do I kind of take on more feminine tasks, like caring for the children and taking care of the home, and she does the more manly tasks or masculine tasks, like doing the working stuff, and maybe I still do like the snow shoveling and cutting the grass and whatever, but it's not how most men view their lives nor what they look for. Maybe in 50 years or in 100 years after we've been going through this experiment where women are earning more money and working and taking on these more masculine roles, will we have a shift? But you need to understand that this hasn't been going on that long realistically. I mean, women have been working for 60, 70 years, but they didn't start earning that great amount of money probably until the last 30 years or so, like give or take. So give it time. Maybe it will change. But a lot of men who haven't really changed too much just would like someone traditional that fits in the normal roles that we're used to, that we saw our parents and our grandparents have. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I would say it's probably an even percent. It's probably like around the 50% mark of men who would like to have that, if not maybe a slight majority, at least from what I'm aware of. But I mean, I don't have any stats to back me up, so I don't know what it really is. Maybe it's only 20%. I'm not sure. But there's a good portion of men who do like that. It's traditional.
A lot of the men I know that go overseas to find wives are not great dudes.
Can you be more specific?
Yeah, they're pervy.
Oh, come on.
What are your thoughts on?
That's like that stupid women that I did in a different video where they were like, they're just going over there to pick up children and use them as sex slaves. I was like, shut the hell up. So stupid.
On 90 Day Fiancé or Passport Bros?
The passport bros make sense. I can see why men are incentivized to look elsewhere for more traditional qualities in women. 90 Day Fiancé, though, I think they have.
That's not at all the same thing. 90 Day Fiancé and Passport Bros, very different. 90 Day Fiancé is literally a TV show. It's like watching Love is Blind or The Circle or Housewives of Beverly Hill. It's all like a production.
Have a bad record of matching terrible people together.
Ooh, I'm all for Passport Bros. If you want to go somewhere where they're going to love, respect you, cherish you, cook and clean, and they understand their roles, you should go somewhere where you're loved, because women in today's society, especially modern day women, not all women, it's just you guys forgot your roles. You're supposed to cook, you're supposed to clean, you're supposed to love your partner and take care of his heart and soul, just like men take care of us physically, mentally, and they provide for us. They never forgot their role. So, men, if you want to be a Passport Bro, I support it 100%. Have fun.
When it comes to exotic women, what cultures do you prefer and why?
Hispanics, I guess, I like better.
Is your preference based more on looks or behavior?
Right now, I think looks, like we're young, so yeah. The only thing we think about it, like, you know, have fun.
I'm Jamaican, so I would naturally prefer my own culture. Why? Because there isn't much of a cultural barrier to, or language barrier to go over. But also, there's a stereotype that Asian women are a little bit more traditional, a little bit more feminine. So I'm got my eyes on them as well.
And that's why they said Passport Bros is mainly black men. I guess because it gets around that Asian women are more traditional.
The woman and the man have a date. The man is buy everything. And in the American, we share the man and woman share when we have a date.
So you're saying in Vietnam he pays, and in America they split? Like they share, they split the money?
Yeah. In the American, you share the money.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Do you like that? Which is better, Vietnam or in America?
I think it's American is better. Yeah, better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I keep hearing the government. Is anybody else hearing that? It sounds like she's saying the government has to work and the man has to work too. I'm like, is he dating the government? I'm like, what? I think she means girlfriend or girl. Like, I don't know, but it just sounds like government.
the woman have a work and the man have a work too.
The woman have a work and the man have a work too.
Over there in Italy, it's more like for the family and for the husband, like cook, clean, and all this stuff. Here it's more like, oh, you're a man, you can do it. Or like, why have to do it for you when I work? Yeah, but I work too, you know. So if I work and I'm gonna do it, and you work and I'm gonna do it, like who's gonna clean the house? Who's gonna cook?
You know what's funny when he was talking? I guess he's from Italy because he says he's using Italy as an example, but he sounded like he was Hispanic. Well, you can do it. Why you not do it?
Oh, you're a man. You can do it. Or like, why have to do it for you?
He likes Hispanic women. I don't know. It's funny.
Women are definitely equipped with a lot more traditional skills, i.e. cooking, cleaning, and a con, I would say, is they're just as sometimes very assertive or outgoing as some of the males are. And yeah, feminism is kind of creeping its way in, just little by little.
Is that a guy sleeping on the ground behind him? I just realized that. I think there's a guy, a homeless guy sleeping on the ground behind him.
What do you think the reason that men are not like satisfied with the women in this country and they're looking elsewhere outside?
They're not satisfied with the women in this country? Where are you getting this off of?
Well, Passport Bros and 90 Day Fiancé. I mean, obviously there's a movement about that.
That is the outlier. That is the exception to the rule. I don't think the majority of men are not happy with women in this country.
I think it depends who you talk to. If you're talking to men who are not like these good-looking, suave guys or have a lot of money, then I would say, that 80% group, right, or 70% group, they probably would kind of complain-ish. Not all of them, but I mean, there would be a good amount of them that would probably be like, it's so difficult to date here, right? But if you're in that, 20, 30% that's getting dates and doing well, then you're probably not going to complain.
Does a woman's behavior play any role in how she's treated by men?
Yes, yes, huge role actually. How you carry yourself and how you behave towards yourself and how you treat others is a very good indicator of how people treat you and how you actually expect to be treated. So yeah.
So
Of course. Of course it would. Why wouldn't it be? If the woman's being a complete ass, then she probably ain't going to be getting treated well.
why are people so quick to blame the man when things go wrong in a relationship?
Because it's still their fault.
Why is that?
Well, because I'm a woman and I know best.
That's because
She said the quiet part out loud. Oops.
men are always willing and ready to take the responsibility even when things are going to shit. I myself have taken blame for things that I haven't necessarily been responsible for. So it's just a thing that men are innately going to shoulder the burden and the responsibility, even if it's not ours to bear.
Yeah, because we don't want to go back and forth being like, it's your fault, no, it's your fault, no, it's your fault, no, it's your fault. It's just like, okay, I don't want to argue with you. Fine, it's my fault. Let's just move on and blah, right? Let's get on with our lives. Don't want to argue about this. We don't like drama, generally.
Do you believe it's a man's duty to respect a woman regardless of how she treats him in return?
No. Respect begets respect. You being disrespectful, of course, there's a line that men try to not cross, but that's a situation where you just need to exit the situation and leave right away.
Does a woman's behavior play any role in how she's treated by men?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So why are people so quick to blame the man when things go wrong in a relationship?
Because he the man.
Because the men are supposed to be the breadwinners. That it's easy to blame them.
What do you mean? What does that mean? You're supposed to be the breadwinners. What? Why would that mean you would blame them? If anything, if they're the breadwinner, why wouldn't you not want to blame them? Because you don't want them to not bring home the bread. You want to keep them as de-stressed as possible.
Because women don't like accountability, women don't like being wrong, and nobody holds women accountable. They enable women, so it's easier to blame the man, like always.
That's probably more kind of it, more like leaning to what she said there.
It's not always the guy's fault, but people are quick to judge the guy faster than they are the girl. So
Why is that?
I don't know. People just perceive men bad.
They do.
And I don't agree with it, but that's just how guys are perceived. So
There are good men out there. You just gotta
find them, pick through them.
yeah.
Who is more likely to be expected to settle for a partner that doesn't treat them right, men or women?
Wow. That one's tricky, but I do want to say men. Men 9 times out of 10 they date and marry down. So they're going to be the ones that are going to be more than likely unsatisfied.
I know what he's saying, but I disagree. I would say that men look for different things than women. Like men are looking for someone who's, attractive to them, who has good feminine energy, who's going to look after them, work with them, be supportive. And then the woman's kind of looking for obviously that supportive quality as well, but somebody who makes a lot of money, who's going to be able to take care of the family. And they're kind of different things, right? Women are less interested in how a guy looks like realistically. I mean, they care to some degree. And I think if you put those two side by side, they're not mutually exclusive, so they can overlap pretty well. So I think that men and women both get into relationships that are bad about an equal rate. I just think that men tend to stick it out more. They'll live with the shittiness rather than women who will more likely leave. And that's probably like a newer trend with divorce and all this sort of stuff, because I'm just thinking about divorces. Most of them are because of women, like they initiate it. But I think ultimately that's a newer thing.
Maybe it's not the majority of men, but it's starting to become a movement.
Well, fuck you. Go away. Go find your women wherever
Hey.
you want. If you're not satisfied, I don't know what to tell you. If you want a woman who barely even speaks English and just has to suck your dick, go for it. That's
Calm down there, lady. You don't need to be swearing and cursing and stuff. That's my job. Oh my God, she got a little upset. What does it matter? Well, okay, she's single. She wants a man. But you probably wouldn't want one of those men anyways, so just calm down.
Well, I'm just asking on behalf of those men, I suppose. So, if your average man is treated better by women overseas, why do men prefer to stay here and play the game when the odds are so heavily stacked against them?
Well, I think it's because it's what they know, and the thing that the United States has going for it is that the money's all here. So we all have to make a living and support ourselves and our lifestyles. So that's the reason, because you end up missing our culture we grew up in when you live in another country. But I'll tell you what, it's such a different feeling when you're in another country, how great you get treated as a man.
Essentially, why should men spend so much time grooming themselves to please the toxic women here?
They take what they can get because they have to. That's how society has played them into, doing that.
I think a lot of men don't have a choice because they don't make a lot of money and they have to, right? If you're making $40,000, $50,000 a year, you ain't going to the Philippines or Brazil or whatever to go meet a woman. Like, you got to have some level of money to do that. And it's much more complicated. So you're going to try to make it work with what you got here. There are good women here. You can find them. There are some. There's just a proportion of them that are just crappy. And that's just like guys. It's crappy guys too. Let's be honest. There's crappy guys. But there's this women mentality thing that's going around that just makes things more difficult.
Good men aren't appreciated.
So I feel as though there's some men who do groom themselves for women because men want to provide and protect and all that good stuff. But I do feel like it's part of their thing that they want to do for themselves. I don't think men should do that. That's just my personal opinion. Groom yourself for you, love yourself for you, not for other women, especially in today's generation where women are showing they don't care about men and they don't give a shit about them. Yeah.
I kind of like this girl, but she's very on the man side. She seems pretty nice. I would say that yes, I very much look forward to providing for the woman in my life. That's something that I just like to do. It wasn't something I liked to do when I was in my 20s and stuff, my early mid 20s. I was not into that at all. But I think as I got older, it just became sort of this natural thing that when I actually started to do it, I felt so much fulfillment and joy from doing it that it almost felt like my purpose in life, which I don't know if that's totally a good thing, as she's saying, but it was very enjoyable, very enjoyable. And I really didn't expect much from my woman other than, like that support, that care, and that feminine energy. She didn't even have to cook and clean. That's fine. We can hire somebody to clean, like we're both working or whatever, right? Like generally that's what happens. It just costs you like $100 a week, like just $400 a month, done. And as far as cooking, like I'm a good cook. I don't mind cooking. And she can obviously cook sometimes too. That'd be great if kind of like split it or something.
Why are you more likely to see female empowerment in first world countries?
Wow, great question there. Well, it's our culture. It's passed down from woman to woman, depending on where you're raised. That's why the family unit is so important, man and woman raised in the family, because it gives you the correct outlook on life.
Damn, this guy has so much wisdom. Like, I don't know how old he is, but I feel like so much wisdom in his words. Very, very powerful.
And lastly, if there was one thing you wish men understood better about women, what would it be?
Understood?
Yeah.
I think the man cannot understood woman.
Why not?
Probably.
The women, they always think another one and say another one.
Oh my God. I'm literally going through that right now. I'm like, look, your actions, you tell me something, but your actions don't line up with what you tell me. So it's just confusing. Just tell me the truth. Just tell me what you're thinking instead of making some shit up and then telling it to me and then not following through. It's just like, tell me what you're thinking. It's obvious I'm staring at you. It's obvious you're not telling me just straight up the truth. You're like mixing things up. It's so ridiculous. Just be honest. Just say what you're thinking. And if you're having doubts about certain things or you don't like a certain thing, whatever, just tell me. You don't gotta like be like, oh no, I totally like this. But like it's obvious on your face that you don't. You just won't admit it.
So why do we have the expression "where have all the good men gone," but nobody's asking where have all the good women gone?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I feel like there still is good men out here. I'm not saying I'm not saying there's no good women out here, but I feel like all the feminists and the women that are like bad are shouting from the rooftops, and there's not enough women, that care about men that have a big voice about it.
Are women the problem, or are the people influencing women the problem?
It's all the influences on women, actually.
I agree.
Since when they're little girls. Me raising two girls now that are teens as a widower, you see it. I see what they're bombarded with on a daily basis. It's definitely our culture.
Oh, that's interesting. That's why his perspective is so deep, probably as well. It's that experience of being older, but also having raised two girls, and then kind of being the mother and the father because they don't have a mother anymore. That's that's crazy. Yeah. Wow. Sorry to hear that, but that is actually awesome that he has that, like both sides, kind of.
Wow, 100% the people influencing the women are the problem. Naturally, I think women know what's right and they know kind of where to fall into place. Women know they're weaker physically, sometimes even mentally. They know sometimes they really depend on men, but because of the messaging and the marketing that's so powerful, it's going to be hard to get away from that brainwashing.
He says even mentally, and okay, I'm going to be try to be as charitable with him as possible. I don't think he meant even mentally like women aren't as smart as men because we do know from like the IQ distribution that actually women and men are practically the same. It's just on the edges. There's more men who are a little bit smarter, like higher in the IQ, but also more men who are stupider, so lower. So you kind of just like, okay, whereas women are more centered. I'm going to guess that what he's talking about is, women maybe being more emotional, which in certain moments does not serve them well in sort of like an intelligence capacity. Because let's say you're having an argument or a discussion, and then you get emotional because I don't know whatever point you're talking about. Kind of when you get emotional, generally your arguments start to fall apart more because you're not thinking as clearly. So I'll be charitable and say that, but if he actually thinks women are stupider, not as smart, that's not good, dude.
It's not really fair because, we're persecuted for every decision we make, but women are allowed to act trashy and disrespect themselves and disrespect men, but no one wants to stand up and say, hey, enough is enough.
Why do so many men think foreign women are the answer if many of those women will use men for citizenship?
Because they can get about 5 levels of a higher of a partner than they could here in the United States, and that's the trade-off.
5 levels. Is that true? 5 levels higher? I don't know. Okay, I don't know how he's basing that, but I know what he's saying, and I get it. I think anybody who's looking for a partner outside the country, like, have at her. I just think it's so much harder. Like every time I've had an experience like that, it's so much more difficult. And it's just like, frig, can just something be a little more simple? Like it's just so difficult. It ends up being like a long distance thing, and then you got to have a lot of money to be traveling, and It's just, and then even if you are to bring them to the country, they can't just live here right away. Like there's a whole process that has to happen. Oh. And then their parents aren't there, and then they're going to miss their family, and they won't be working if they want to work, if that's what you're going to do. Like, then you have to make friends all over again. It's just, oh, it's so much more work. I'd almost rather move to their country. I like, that's how I feel. It would almost be simpler. Like, it would be simpler for me.
I think men innately know that there's always a trade-off. There's always something that they're willing to give up and that they're willing to sacrifice to find love. You going to another country to find love is already an arduous and difficult task. So they know that there's obviously going to be some drawbacks.
A lot of people don't want to change their lifestyle either. Like a man probably content in his lifestyle that he has here, and he don't want to change his whole beliefs and whole custom and learn a whole new country. So
Why are men always expected to sacrifice while women are always expected to be compensated?
Again, we're the ones willing to do so. We don't have a problem with sacrificing, even though, like, sure, having to work 23 hours a day, we'll do it because it's a sacrifice we're willing to make. It's just something that comes with being a man. Women...
It's traditional. It's traditional. We want traditional women, and maybe the women are traditional, but the men in general still have a lot of traditional qualities.
I don't think they're willing to do it, and that's what's going to be the major difference.
No, in general, women aren't willing or don't want to do it, work all those hours. That's just my experience, and I think it's pretty accurate, I would say. Just women prefer to live the life, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. I would prefer to live the life too. Like in a way, you know, so it's fine. Have at her.
If it wasn't for sex, do you think men would be willing to make that sacrifice?
No.
So isn't it really all just about the power of the vajayjay?
Yeah, pretty much.
Not for me. No. If we were having sex like much more rarely, but as long as I got that beautiful feminine energy and had someone who really supported me and had my back and worked together with me, I would still make the trade. I would still be in that relationship. You know, it's not all about sex. And I don't know. I can't think of why somebody would say that, frankly. Like, it can't all be about sex, guys. There's so much more stuff that happens throughout the day than just sex.
Much. Power to pum pum.
Okay, that's the end of the video. Hopefully you guys learned something. I know I enjoyed this video. I learned some things. It was interesting. It was interesting to hear like women's different thoughts on some of these foreign women, and generally it seems like they didn't like them, except for that one black girl who was like, yes. But the other ones, they all seem to like the Western society ways. So crap. And that one girl was from Vietnam, that Asian girl who was talking. And she was like, yes, Western society, I like this better. So it's like, could you even bring the woman from wherever you meet her and bring her to North America and then expect that she's not going to become tainted and changed by that? I don't know. Probably not. This is rough, dude. I don't know what these passport bros do. You got to live in the other country, I guess. All right, please like and subscribe. If you would like to see more, please comment, share your thoughts, and we'll talk to you again next time.